Hey everybody, it's your boy Marcus Norman from Gentleman Style Podcast Show. Today you all are in for a very, very special treat. This man is phenomenal. He's going to help us get to a better place this year. This tax season year has been absolutely crazy, and he is here to help us get to a better place. So stay tuned, stay with us. You won't want to miss 1 second of this incredible man. Here we go. Hey everybody, it's your boy Marcus Norman from Gentleman Style Podcast Show, and today you all are in for a treat. Today we have the incredible Mr. Charles Reed. He is a certified public accountant, U.S. Tax Court Practitioner, member of the Internal Revenue Service Advisory Council, and the founder of GetPayroll. Mr. Reed's companies have provided full service payroll services, payroll tax services, and other payroll related services since 1991. So this man I'm about to bring onto the stage is a absolute veteran in this industry, and this year we need him. We need the knowledge that he has, that he's bringing to us live on the Gentleman Style platform. So help me welcome to the stage the incredible Mr. Charles Reed. Welcome, sir. Welcome to the Gentleman Style Podcast Show. Thank you for joining us today.
Marcus, my pleasure.
Absolutely. My pleasure to have you, sir. So, Mr. Reed, thank you for joining us on the Gentleman Style Podcast today. I want to dive right in. Last year was absolutely ridiculous. Changes, PPP loans, distributions, tax fraud, tax evasion, so many different moving parts in the tax industry. Help us get to a better place. What's going on? Where should we start? Should I'm scared to do TurboTax this year. Should I seek out a certified public accountant this year, and why should I?
If you're a business, absolutely. The changes are massive. If all you have is a W-2 as an individual, TurboTax will probably do a fine job. Okay. But if you got stimulus checks, which a lot of us did, some of us didn't. If you're a business and you got a PPP, if your employees deferred taxes at the end, if you're subject to portions of the CARE Act, if you were paying people that were off work because of COVID, you need a professional. This is not something to do yourself. This is not a normal year, and neither will 2021 be a normal year. I'm frankly kind of scared to do my own, and I do this for a living.
It is absolutely frightening, and it's different this year. So many different changes. You have a book, your book, the Payroll Book, a guide for small businesses and startups, touches on some unique topics and some unique things that are helping businesses survive the tax season. In your book, you talk about the 10 reasons why it's important to outsource payroll. What are some of those reasons? What are those top 10 reasons? Why is it important to outsource as a business to outsource my payroll?
Well, one of the reasons you just mentioned is a professional that keeps up on this stuff. I take the trades. I had 40 hours of continuing professional education every year on current topics. My staff is up to speed on this. This is what we do for a living. We have very sophisticated software, equipment, facilities, trained people, CPPs, certified payroll professionals that do this for a living. And so we can help our clients get the best possible outcome of all the changes in the law that you can't possibly know by yourself. You're running a business. How do you keep up with all the changes in the law and run a business? I mean, we do it because it's our business, but Lord, then the other things are we keep up to speed on everything for you, keep current. We have current software. Frankly, compared to the time you would spend doing payroll, we're cheap. Frankly, probably free. We guarantee there won't be any penalties. Okay, if there are, and it's our fault, we didn't fix it, we'll take care of them. Okay, so you have that peace of mind. Privacy, it's all here. We do direct deposits wherever possible, so there's not paycheck stubs laying around, there's not reports laying around. We cut down on fraud. Any checks we cut are cut on our bank account, our trust account for you. And so if there's a check fraud, it's our problem. And we've got very sophisticated things in place to keep it from happening. Obviously, we're very concerned about it. Okay. So all those things and the peace of mind. And then as a CPA, we take a 2848, a limited power of attorney, and we can represent our clients with the IRS. We can advocate for them. I can stand up and go to the IRS office and pound on the desk if necessary. But I know, I spent 3 years on the IRS Advisory Council. I met the commissioner. I had lunch with him several times this last year, and the deputy commissioners, and the commissioners of various business entities within the IRS and their assistants. When there's a problem, I know who to call, and they'll take my call. This is the kind of thing we can do for our clients, that our clients, look, I can't build a house. I can't sew a suit. I can't groom a dog. I mean, okay. There's a lot of. I've got clients that do all these things and many more. They run restaurants. They have manufacturing businesses. They do all kinds of things. I can't do those. I outsource those things to other people. Well, maybe you ought to consider, if you're a business, outsourcing your payroll and take that time and put it onto your regular business, what you do best, and let me do what I do best.
That makes sense. And that's absolutely important, right? And that's major, because you touched on something, outsourcing, right? Everyone is, people who start businesses, they always have 6 or 7, 8 different hats, because they're trying to do all the methods and madness of the business. When you just touched on something very powerful in itself, that alone is worth your time, right? It is outsourcing. Get someone who's a professional, who's well trained, who's certified, and with you and your team knows the right context in the IRS in order to get things worked, not necessarily evaded or tax fraud. We're not talking about that, but we're talking about making sure we're doing this by the code, by the book. So yes.
You wouldn't go to court without an attorney. Why would you put yourself at the hands of the IRS without a CPA? Come on. Let's use some common sense here. And why would you take the time to learn what I do, okay, for your own company? I'm sorry. You do what you do best. You're an expert at it. You make a living at it. You're growing a business doing it. People outsource to you. Okay? So why aren't you outsourcing the things that aren't your core business? We don't make paper. We don't make computers. I didn't build this building. I didn't build the camera or the computer. I outsourced all that. I bought it, or I had it done. We built this building 20 years ago. I hired a commercial contractor to build it. I wasn't going to build it. Hell, I couldn't even design it. So
that's so true. That's so true. There's no satisfaction in that.
I learned this years ago when I was first starting. I don't like to mow lawns. I don't like to mow my own lawn. And it's work. So I looked at what I could do in that hour I would spend mowing the lawn and getting the lawnmower and maintaining it and buying it and the edger and everything else. I could go into my office and do tax returns for that hour that would pay for the lawn mowing service several times over. So if I'm going to work, I'm going to go do something I enjoy doing and make more money than working in something I don't enjoy doing. Why?
Exactly. Exactly. We have Mr. Charles Reed here. He's breaking down generational wealth and he's breaking down how to do your taxes right this year. We have one quick commercial break. We'll be right back. You guys don't go anywhere. Stay with us. Good day, podcast listeners. This is your boy, Marcus Norman of Gentleman Style Podcast Show. I wanted to let you guys know that we will be rolling out a new feature and adding a join sponsor button next to the subscriber button here at the bottom of your screen. Once you click the button, it will display 3 membership levels. Gentleman Gentry, which is our entry level, Duke Duchess, which is our season level, and the Emperor and Empress, which is our most sophisticated level, which you will receive unique perks and benefits at each differing level and gain access to our community tab. We will also be sharing polls, upcoming events, and interviews, as well as receive feedback from our sponsors directly. Your support helps me find new and exciting guests to bring to the stage live. Well, in order to get the higher end speakers, it requires, some, you guessed it, money. So thank you for tuning in to my channel, and if becoming a sponsor sounds good to you, then select the join button below and choose your desired sponsor level. Let's continue to grow and serve the future of generations of men and women to come. Love you guys. Bye. Hey everybody, this is Marcus Norman from Gentleman Style Podcast Show. We have the incredible Mr. Charles Reed, and he just broke down some incredible tips on what we need to do better business. His book is leading the charge and teaching us, the most important thing, in my opinion, that you can ever learn is to outsource your payroll to a certified professional like Mr. Reed and his company, and like what they do for a living, because it's not our best strength. It's not what we do. Give him a round of applause, y'all. Mr. Reed, thank you for joining us on the Gentleman Style Podcast Show. Sir, you have insight. You have a direct insight knowledge for what is the most common mistake that you see new businesses make in being tax compliant? What's the most common thing that you've seen that is the simplest thing that can be avoided if businesses just do these things right?
Well, it's not simple, but it's the difference between independent contractors and employees. Lots of new businesses just want to say, well, I'll pay them under the table. I'll pay them as a contractor. And I understand the reason why. It's a lot simpler.
Right.
But you don't get to make that choice. Determining whether they're an employee or an independent contractor is a whole body of law, and it changes. There were new rules that were put into place by the Labor Department under President Trump that were then voided by the Labor Department under President Biden. And so things are up in the air. There's 20 common law rules that still remain and the courts look to, and it's a preponderance of those rules and how they're interpreted by various courts. So you can't just say, well, I'm just going to pay them cash. A lot of people do that when they start out. Well, I'll just pay them. I'll write them a check, whatever. You can't do that. If they're an employee, if they're an employee for 1 minute, you have to pay them and file and withhold and deposit and W-2s and everything else. It's one of the mistakes a lot of them make. The next biggest one is they don't file and deposit the things they should do when they should do it. And if you are 1 second late on that deposit or your tax withholding deposit, there's a penalty. 1 second.
Wow.
It'll cost you 2% of that deposit. You just threw away a bunch of money. And if you forget it for a month, it's going to run you 15%. So
Oh my gosh. So
it's
that
really
make
it's really easy for a guy to sit down. Oh, I'll do the payroll, and he does it up, and he even calculates all his taxes, and he puts it over here, and he may even write a check to send in to deposit. You can't send a check anymore. You got to do it electronically. So he says, "Okay, I'll get to it," and he puts it in the drawer. And a month later, he opens the drawer and sees it and goes, "Oh, darn!"
no, no,
Happens all the
no.
time.
So what is something what's the best type of business to open, and what is the difference between a contractor and an employee, because there's a unique difference between the two, right?
Okay.
So how can a business owner, this is my 1099 or this is my employee, how do I know the difference?
Well, that's the 20 common law rules, and then the Labor Department. It's basically control. Do you control them, or do they control their work? If they can put, as a CPA, if you bring me a tax return to do, I may do it, or I may have another CPA or somebody else over here that does it, and I sign my name to it. I'm a contractor. I get to do that. If that person who you're paying can't substitute somebody else, can't do it when they want to do it, can't do it how they want to do it, don't have their own tools to do it, and don't do it on their premises or at their time, they're probably an employee. Okay. So if they're in the office with you and you tell them when to show up and what to do and how to do it, they're an employee. I don't care what you say. Okay. You don't get to make that choice. So if you're not sure, contact an expert, somebody like me or somebody like me or me that understands this and has dealt with it for 30 years and can walk through the exact circumstances of that person. And it can get tricky. I've had it where a company, it was they cut fabric, and they had a lady and her husband and a whole bunch of other people, and the lady came in at night and cleaned.
Okay, seems
That
simple.
was She did that as a contractor. She cleaned when she chose to, using her tools, and she would send somebody else if she wanted to. So she was both an employee during the day and a contractor at night. And so she had two different incomes, and she had both a W-2 and a 1099. That's rare, but it happens. Okay, so if you're not sure, talk to somebody, somebody that has experience. I mean, you can read up on it. I detail it out in the book. What the rules are and how to interpret them and so on. And if you're crazy, you can fill out a form to the IRS and send it to them, and they'll to make a determination whether that person is a contractor or an employee. Of course, once they've made that determination, then it will probably be an employee. You're stuck with that. You don't get a choice at that point. You've asked the IRS, and they've made their
That-
pronouncement. You're stuck with it.
and they told you, who it was. So that's incredible, and that's important also to invoicing, right? You have the ability as a 1099 to invoice. You send. That's also a key distinction, correct, between an employee and a 1099. You can invoice me, and you set your own price.
Exactly. You have financial control. You set your price. It may be one price today. Next week, depending on demand, it may be double. You may have taken a job to do this for $50. Doing it by hours, he is a little tougher. That makes it a little more like an employee. If you have a price for a job, that's more likely to be a contractor. But if I tell you I'm going to do it for $50, and I do it for $50, but man, it took me all day. You call me next week. Well, it's going to be 100 this time. Okay, a contractor could do that. Okay, an employee doesn't. An employee, though, is also tends to be permanent. A contractor tends not to be permanent. So a contractor is, I need you today, and maybe I'll need you next week. Employees tend to be, well, I need you all week, or I need you every Tuesday, forever, or what. It tends to be more permanent. And there's advantages of both. Employees tend to be loyal. Contractors, if you're not using them, they'll take another job and may not be available. So there's pluses and minuses to both.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what's the best business entity to, let's say, real estate? I'm a real estate investor. What's the best type of entity? Is it an LLC? Should I go incorporated? Should I do a DBA? And put the real estate under my social security number? What's the best type of entity for a real estate investor?
Okay, well, there's four basic entities. Sole proprietor, which is the easiest and simplest, but it also has the most liability as an individual, because if you have a problem in the business, you're personally liable. The others are partnership, corporation, or LLC. A partnership is two or more people, and it's not a very good tax entity. There's have some real tax problems with it. There are some special places for it, some professional organizations, and so on. But it's normally not the best tax entity. We don't recommend it except under unusual circumstances. Corporations and LLCs give you liability protection. They're both cheap liability. It's the cheapest insurance policy you'll ever get. A single member LLC can be a disregarded entity. So you have the liability protection, but you're treated as a sole proprietor for tax purposes. And that's not always the best way to be. An LLC that is taxed as an S corporation or an S corporation is heavily tax favored because it's a pass-through entity. A C corp is heavily unfavored because you have double taxation. So for a small business, a LLC that files as a corporation is an S corp, is an S corporation, or an S corporation. And frankly, I recommend an S corporation because the law is much better set in that. It's much more fixed. It doesn't vary as much as an LLC does from state to state. And the law is much more fixed. And frankly, it's cheaper to set one up. The attorneys tend to overcharge for LLCs, in my opinion.
It's true. Very true. So thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that. And that's very important to know how to incorporate correctly. And then once you figure out what suits your business and what works with your business, making sure that you stick with that and you're not bouncing around like I'm a DBA tomorrow, I'm a sole proprietor tomorrow. Getting with a certified CPA who knows how the best way to run your organization legally, right? We're talking legally, y'all. We don't want to be messing around with the illegalities and say, oh, I'll just do this tomorrow. I'll put it off to tomorrow. You don't want to put anything off. You want to stay compliant.
I'm going to correct you on just one thing.
Please.
If a CPA tells you how to run your business, run away. I can tell you how to do your accounting. I can help you with your finance. I can help you set up accounts payable and accounts receivable. But it's your business. You know it better than I will ever know it. And take my advice on certain things that I'm an expert at, by all means. But I don't let my lawyers or other people run my business. I ask them for their opinion, and I put it with the rest of my knowledge and experience. But to let an outside expert, a CPA, an attorney, an insurance agent run your business is a mistake, because they're not an expert in your business. They're an expert in what they do. They may be wonderful with your accounting and give you reports that are very useful to you, but you run your business. Don't let them.
Love that. That makes perfect sense. Thank you for correcting me, right? I needed that. So thank you for being my guide and correcting me in that stance. How did you... No, I need that. I am not opposed to correction at all. One of the things you speak to is you were able to do this. How did you grow your businesses from $1,000 to 7 figures? What's the secret? Can you spill some of that secret sauce?
Yeah, a couple of things. Take care of your clients. Referrals are wonderful. But I made a mistake early on. I did not invest in marketing like I should have. I thought I knew it all when I started my own business, okay? Young, dumb, and you know,
Full of energy.
we're all the hats, and you can see what it did to my poor head.
You look great.
Thank you. The girls, never mind. Anyway, marketing is the key. And if you're not an expert marketer, and I'm not, as soon as you can afford to hire somebody to market, get them in there. Get your business known. Get your reputation out there. Become the thought leader in your industry. I don't care what it is. Become known. Join the associations. If you're a restaurant, join the local restaurant association and then be an officer. Join the Rotary Club. I've been a Rotarian for 25 years. I know most of the people in town through that and have contacts and clients because of it. I've done the Rotary Club payroll for free for 25 years, and people notice that, and they say, "Oh, hey, he's doing our payroll, doing payroll for the club. Maybe he can do payroll for me." So get yourself out there, and marketing is the way to do it. Become the go-to person for your industry in your area or nationwide. If there's a place to do it, write a book. That's my business card now. This is my fourth one. It's a great. I carry a dozen in my trunk of my car. I hand them out all the time. Who knows what that'll do? My
true.
operations manager was looking at a house for him and his wife. Talked to the general contractor. We're picking up 2 payrolls from that. Talk to everybody. Yeah,
Makes sense.
it happens. I picked up one. The guy was looking at the lot next to me, out where I live. Got talking to him. Picked up his company payroll.
Wow. Networking and building those relationships. Like you said, get known. Get on podcasts. Get on my podcast. Get on the Gentleman Style podcast. Get
Absolutely.
the information out there.
Because you're gonna get me and my book out to lots of people, all your listeners. I've got a special deal for them before we go.
Absolutely.
If they'd like a copy of my book, they can go to thepayrollbook.com and in the discount code put podcast, and I will send them a free book.
Yeah. One more time, doctor. So get on that website, getpayroll.com, and put podcast, discount code podcast in the purchase, and you will get a copy of the free book.
There you go.
Thank you for that, doctor. Thank you for so much for that, sir. That's incredible. Incredible. Give him another round of applause, y'all. He's giving away nuggets. Sir, Mr. Reed, what is the best way for my audience to connect with you, get behind you, learn from you, sir, and do better business with their payroll?
www.getpayroll.com. That's where they can find us. Our new website will be out in a couple of weeks, but we have one out there. I'm CJR, Charles J. Reed, at GetPayroll is my email. The payroll book is available Amazon, Barnes & Noble's, other fine bookstores, or on the payrollbook.com is the website for the book itself. So, and, if they got a real question and it's pressing, 972-353-0000. Ask for Charles.
Perfect. I am bringing it up on the big screen. Ask for Charles. So there you have it, y'all. You are brave, sir. Oh my God. That is huge. He put his number out there.
I like to help people. I'm a problem solver. That's my nature. I like to solve problems. And so, and if I can answer a question off the cuff, there's no charge.
Wow. Thank you for that. Sir. Well, you all have been tuning in. You all have been gracious. Mr. Reed, I want to say thank you, sir. Thank you for giving back in this unique way. Thank you for spending time with us on the Gentleman Style Podcast Show. I thank you, brother. Please, what you are doing is absolutely phenomenal. Please don't ever give up. We need what you're doing. The world needs what you're doing. You are changing one household, one business, and you're keeping us out of the IRS's jail for the foreseeable future. So thank you, sir.
My pleasure.
Absolutely. And thank you all for tuning in to the Incredible Gentleman Style Podcast Show. I hope this message has served you, and I hope this episode was very impactful. Mr. Reed, give him a round of applause, y'all, one more time. I hope you all have learned something today. Thank you for tuning in. If you haven't yet subscribed hit the subscribe button on YouTube. And this episode can be found on most major platforms where audio and video can be heard. So like I end every show, take care of your family, take care of your friends, and take care of business. This is Marcus Norman of Gentleman Style Podcast Show and Mr. Charles Reed at GetPayroll.com. Love you guys. Bye.